I want to get ahead on our Game of the Year discussion. Now, to take the pressure off, we've done an anonymous ballot. So, let's get the first pick. Like a Dragon Ishin.
Ah, what a wise pick from an unknown voter.
Okay, next game is Octopath Traveler 2, a JRPG. I wonder who voted for that. Okay, and last of all... What the... Dredge? Ash, is this you?
My mind belongs to the ocean now. When it comes to video games, I've always been drawn to the water, but I only ever paddled in the beauty of virtual H2O. Horizons, babbling brooks, the undulating waves of kayak VR, the superficial swirl that might entrance the common mind, but doesn't capture the dark pull of what lies beneath. The sea is unknowable. We've named parts of it, but we have never tamed them. For as much as we can see from the safety of the shore, a single wave will effortlessly wash away anything, everything, people, boats, aeroplanes, even civilizations for our poor old Atlanteans.
So is it any wonder that the sea has proven such rich inspiration for horror?
The power is scary, but the mystery is worse. We're talking about an uninhabitable alien world full of predators that are all teeth and scales. And that's before even considering what titans could make their home in the shifting waters. Who knows what really lies in the 80% of unmapped oceans that dominate our planet? That is not a rhetorical question, however. Dredge knows.
Now, you may be tempted to overlook Dredge as a wholesome life sim.
It's an indie fishing sim that has been freshly hauled onto PlayStation and initially presents itself as humble and quaint. Thrust into the salty waders of a fisherman in the port town of Greater Marrow, you are tasked with bringing food and findings to the local community. Earning money to upgrade your equipment and head out on the water again in a steady cycle of sleep, fish, sell, repeat.
Think Stardew Valley, but a lot more moist.
It is a cosy game through and through, taking the proven delights of fishing minigames, but stretching the concept over a week or so of gentle afternoon play. And Dredge would be just fine like this, sending you out in your little tugboat to shoals of fish circling at the water's surface, hitting buttons in time with the pull of your rod for a quicker retrieval, then lugging it all back to the fishmonger before resting through the night. A happy, simple life of angling for trophy catches and raking in profits from an honest day's work. It's the kind of game you'd recommend to your mom, or maybe Dave. Very safe, very reliable. Well, until the night, that is. When the sun sinks, if there were any other boats, they would come straight in. Be sensible fishermen that lock their doors, as something darker begins to rear its rotten head.
And I really do mean dark, a magical moment where the whole world is enveloped in fog.
In your time on Greater Marrow, you are consistently warned about this, to not go out at night when this fog rolls in, nor to spend any longer in the maddening mists than absolutely necessary. This weather is a character all of its own, hiding secrets and a will that becomes clearer over time, worming its way into your sailor's psyche and surging a panic meter should you push your luck out on the black waters at night. You're risking more than damaging your hull on unseen rocks by being out in this supernatural darkness.
Alas, you're never going to fill up your fish encyclopedia with that attitude, and it is one of the true joys of Dredge's gameplay. So, investing in a good light source and motoring off into the night becomes an unnerving necessity.
And therein, the true nature of Dredge slowly reveals itself in dancing chromatic spectrums of light where fish might be found in the darkness. Cast your hook into these and you'll pull up an aberrated fish, one that has ingested a relic of particular interest to a mysterious collector perhaps, who then sets you on a quest to the weirder wonders of the Marrow Islands and beyond. If you're wondering what an aberrated fish is, then you're not alone. Seemingly drawing their name from the chromatic aberration projected onto the water, these creatures are mutated and twisted by some eerie force beneath the waves, reshaped by exposure to a terrifying something lurking at the edges of this reality. There's an overlapping of organic parts, reworking and focusing their flesh into skeletal frameworks, bulging eyes, serrated edges, and too many teeth.
Needless to say, you won't be ordering one of them with a side of battered chips and a pot of curry sauce, eh?
Finding one of these freaky fish never fails to be exciting, with the hunt for bigger, weirder, and nastier life forms slowly becoming the driving force behind your adventures. And that is the black magic of this game. On one hand, it's an experience so drenched in cosmic horror it might as well have been vomited from the mouth of Lovecraft himself. But it hooks you in with a meditative charm of fishing and the gachapon promise of what you might hook out next.
So why does it work and how does it dig into your brain? I think it is all about ritual.
When I say ritual, I don't mean the kind that involves strange figures in billowing cloaks muttering over indecipherable sigils.
Though Dredge does have its fair share of those that are found on Forgotten Islands too. No, this time I'm talking about rituals that take root in everyday life.
The ritual of making a cup of tea just right, of a beard grooming routine, of processing a film photograph. All of these are examples of precise acts we take great pleasure in performing. There's a hypnosis to them, a sense of losing oneself in the rhythm of repeated, definite action, a sense of quiet ceremony with a satisfying reward at the end. Whether that's your perfect cup of tea or the profits of a fish caught and promptly delivered.
And this is exactly how Dredge lures you into its inescapable vortex.
On one hand, there's the constant fishing cycle, the constant pilgrimage back and forth across the water. But on the other, there is the pull of magical relics that bestow you with the power to push your engine to its limits. Transport yourself across the ocean in a blink of a panicked eye, or decimate whole fishing spots with such ferocity they will never repopulate again. And in following these routines, you don't ever notice Dredge normalising the abnormal, pushing you outwards from Greater Marrow to capitalise on uncharted waters, hungrily grabbing at whatever advantages you can find.
And it is here, on the fringe, where Dredge begins to unravel that fantasy of the dutiful fisherman, instead delivering horror in wide and impactful strokes.
This is where the aforementioned panic meter kicks in, which is more than just a nervous eye rolling around in its socket. It is a careful measure of how much your mind can take. Expose yourself to fog for too long and you hallucinate. Or are you seeing what's truly out there? Jagged rocks glow with red writing, sea serpents rise from the depths to circle your little boat, and phantom ships blast their foghorns from the distance, only to close in and reveal they're nothing more than bait for massive anglerfish hungrily thrashing under the surface.
It's the paranormal cousin of the sea fever that has plagued sailors for generations. Think of the demented horror of the lighthouse, which we can't show for copyright reasons, but we can do a recreation of.
Hark! Spill the beans! Did you take me copy of Spyro Reignited Trilogy?
I told you, I ain't seen your cursed purple dragon! And I wouldn't tell you if I did.
Incredibly, that's actually a very accurate recreation.
So yes, this is the highly charged world that understandably birthed myths of mermaids and sirens. But in Dredge's world, there's far more palpable evidence that terrible, incomprehensible events are playing out under your deck. You only have to look at what you're dragging on board to understand that you don't understand.
If that's an attempt to explain how the game works, then it's also important to not be too academic and just let the game do its work as well.
With a boat that's only ever skating across the surface as depth prompts like Abyssal and Hadal appear, it is easy for a knot to tighten in your stomach thinking about the space between you and the ocean floor. It's a world of sinister suggestion, where you find the floating bones of gigantic creatures, or a very alive one in Stellar Basin. It only serves to fire up your imagination further. And even then, after all of that, nothing prepared me for the bad ending of Dredge. And yes, there is multiple endings.
It's nothing I'll spoil here, but that final image has been seared into my brain as one of the most epic and unexpected reveals since 2020 film Underwater, which pairs perfectly with Dredge as the most amazing double bill, by the way. We're going to need to get Rob to do a recreation as Kirsten Stewart next. They have the same haircut.
Dredge has come out of nowhere and blown me away. It's both like and unlike any other fishing game you've played before. It is an uncanny space that offers the ocean as far as you can see, except in the one place you need to look: down, where white sand beaches and campsites suggest holiday fun, but are studded with occult artifacts. Where dredging is a way of life, but also a ticket to unholy power. Where cosmic horror runs deep in the water, but you just can't keep your hook out of it. It is compelling, moorish and unsettling in equal measure, expertly towing the line between the normal and an inherent wrongness that is hard to shake off.
Ash! Ash! Did you put goo in the voting pouch?
The horror of the unknowable, eh? I'll buy you another one.
PlayStation